Imagine this. You're locked in a conversation with someone intriguing, their eyes meeting yours across a crowded cafe table, and you can almost feel the invisible barrier of unspoken thoughts hanging in the air. What if, instead of fumbling through awkward guesses or deciphering subtle twitches in their expression, you could pierce right through to the heart of what they're truly feeling? No crystal ball required. Just 5 straightforward questions that act like keys to a hidden door. Sounds almost too simple, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to transform any chat from superficial chit-chat into a genuine, soul-bearing connection that leaves both of you feeling seen and understood. Reading minds isn't some mystical gift reserved for psychics or born empaths. It's a practical skill rooted in solid psychology that anyone can master. Think about it. Most folks go through life wearing masks, carefully curating what they reveal to the world. Yet, deep down, there's this universal hunger to be truly known. To have someone peel back the layers and say, "I get you." That's the golden thread we're pulling on here. I'm not about to hand you tricks for manipulation or prying into private corners uninvited. Nope. This is all about fostering real, authentic bonds that enrich your relationships. Whether it's with friends, colleagues, or that special someone. As the ancient philosopher Socrates wisely put it, know thyself is the beginning of all wisdom. But let's take it a step further. Truly understanding others? That's the companion piece. The wisdom that turns acquaintances into allies and strangers into confidants. The secret sauce? It's all in the questions you ask. Sure, you could stick to the basics. What do you do for a living? Or, where are you from? Those might fill the silence. But they barely scratch the surface. The 5 questions I'm unveiling today? They slice right through the fluff, exposing the raw, real person underneath the polished exterior. Get ready, because these aren't your everyday icebreakers. They're designed to reveal hidden depths. And the third one in particular? It's a powerhouse. It uncovers those core values people guard like treasures, sharing them only with the rare few they trust implicitly. If this is sparking something in you, if you're nodding along thinking, "Yes, I need this in my life," then hit that subscribe button right now. Let's stay connected on this journey toward clearer, more stoic insights into the human mind. Alright, no more build-up. Let's dive in. Question number 1. What's been the highlight of your week so far? Picture this question as a gentle spotlight, illuminating what really lights up their inner world. At first glance, it seems casual, almost throwaway, like something you'd toss out while waiting for your coffee order. But don't be fooled. This is a clever psychological tool that zeroes in on their deepest energizers, their true priorities, and the sources of authentic joy that keep them going. Compare it to the standard, "How's your week going?" That one usually elicits autopilot answers. Busy, fine, or the classic, not bad. Vague, right? They slip away like smoke, leaving you none the wiser. But asking for the highlight? It compels them to pause, reflect, and pinpoint something specific that sparked positivity. It's safe and non-intrusive. No one's spilling family secrets here, yet it uncovers layers of personal insight that feel profoundly revealing. When they share that highlight, they're essentially handing you a map to their mindset. What captures their attention amid the daily grind? What they deem noteworthy enough to vocalize? And what truly fuels their happiness? I stumbled upon the magic of this question years ago during a routine coffee catch-up with a new coworker. We could have stuck to shop talk, deadlines, projects, the usual grind. Instead, I went with, "What's been the highlight of your week so far?" She stopped mid-sip, her eyes widening slightly as a genuine smile broke through. "You know," she said, "it was helping my elderly neighbor move some heavy furniture into her new place yesterday. She was struggling on her own, so I cleared my Saturday to lend a hand and get her settled." Boom. Just like that. In one heartfelt response, I glimpsed her essence. No mention of a big promotion, a personal milestone, or anything self-serving. Her peak moment was an act of kindness, signaling that she prized service to others above accolades, cherished connections over climbing the ladder, and drew real fulfillment from easing someone else's burden. It painted a vivid picture of her character: compassionate, reliable, community-oriented. Fast forward 6 months, and when a high-stakes team project came up needing someone rock solid, Her name popped into my head instantly. That single answer had shown me she'd put the group's win ahead of her own spotlight. And guess what? She proved me right every step of the way, emerging as one of the most selfless collaborators I've ever teamed up with, always stepping up, never seeking the glory. What makes this question shine even brighter is its versatility in spotlighting diverse personality types right off the bat. For the ambitious go-getter, their highlight might be sealing a deal or hitting a fitness goal, hinting at a drive for achievement and self-improvement. The creative soul could rave about sketching a new idea or losing themselves in a book, revealing a passion for imagination and introspection. Or take the social butterfly. Theirs might involve a lively gathering with friends, underscoring how relationships recharge their batteries. Each response is like a snapshot of their inner compass, guiding you on how to connect more meaningfully. But let's not stop there. Think about the ripple effects. In a world buzzing with distractions, this question cuts through the noise, fostering conversations that linger long after they've ended. It invites vulnerability without demanding it, building trust brick by brick. Have you ever walked away from a talk feeling like you've truly bonded? Like you've shared a piece of your souls? That's the power here, turning fleeting interactions into memorable exchanges. And as we build on this foundation with the next questions, you'll see how these insights stack up, creating a fuller portrait of the person before you. Of course, timing matters. Drop this in naturally, perhaps after a bit of warm-up, to avoid catching them off guard. Watch their body language as they answer, the way their posture shifts, their voice warms, or their gestures animate. These subtle cues amplify the revelation, painting an even richer picture. I've used it in networking events, first dates, even family dinners, and each time, it transforms the dynamic from polite to profound. So, why does this work so well psychologically? It taps into positive recall, prompting the brain to relive joyful moments, which releases feel-good chemicals like dopamine. This not only makes them more open but also associates you with that positivity, strengthening the bond. It's subtle science at play, making you the conversational wizard without any wand waving. As we move forward, remember, these questions aren't just tools, they're bridges to deeper understanding. Stay tuned for question 2, where we delve even further into the art of unveiling hidden thoughts. But for now, try this one out in your next interaction. You might be surprised at the doors it opens. Building on that first question about the highlight of their week, which uncovers what truly sparks joy and energy in someone's life, let's dive deeper into why it's such a game changer for understanding people on a profound level. Imagine the diverse ways people light up when you ask this. Career-driven folks might beam as they recount landing a big promotion or cracking a tough professional puzzle, revealing their hunger for achievement and growth in the workplace. Those who thrive on relationships could share a heartfelt moment with family or a deep chat with a close friend, painting a picture of someone who cherishes emotional bonds above all. Adventure enthusiasts? They come alive describing a spontaneous hike, a far-flung trip, or stumbling upon a hidden wonder, showing their zest for exploration and novelty. And for the family-oriented souls, it's often those quiet, tender instances with kids or a partner that stand out, highlighting their core focus on home and loved ones. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. It's not merely the words they choose, but the subtle transformation in their demeanor that speaks volumes. Watch closely. Does their voice quicken with excitement, their shoulders relax, or their eyes sparkle like stars breaking through clouds? In that instant, you're not just hearing a story, you're witnessing them reconnect with their true essence. A raw glimpse that no polished LinkedIn bio or Instagram feed could ever capture. It's like peeling back the curtain on what makes their heart beat faster. As the Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius once reflected, very little is needed to make a happy life, it is all within yourself. In your way of thinking, this question pulls back that veil, exposing exactly what that very little means to them, whether it's the thrill of recognition and success, the warmth of human connection and helping hands, the spark of learning a fresh idea, or the serenity found in solitary reflection. Some people practically glow when they talk about mastering a new skill, while others seem to come fully alive recounting peaceful moments alone, away from the world's chaos. I've woven this question into all sorts of scenarios, job interviews where it helps gauge fit, first dates that turn from awkward to engaging, networking mixers that spark real alliances, and even everyday chats that evolve into meaningful bonds, and it consistently delivers those insights. Take, for example, a potential business collaborator I once met. His highlight was finally tackling and organizing his cluttered garage. Everything neatly in its spot. That simple share told me he prized structure, follow through, and a methodical mindset. Sure enough, when we teamed up later, those qualities shone through in his flawless project handling, turning potential headaches into smooth successes. Then there was the time someone raved about unearthing this obscure, tucked-away restaurant that felt like a secret discovery. It unveiled a personality brimming with curiosity for the unique and off-the-beaten path. Someone who delights in being the pioneer of fresh finds. Armed with that knowledge, I could bond over swapping similar hidden gems and tailored suggestions, strengthening our connection effortlessly. Beyond the content, this question also shines a light on how people orient their time. Do they zero in on fresh wins from the here and now, signaling a present-minded approach? Or do they hint at ongoing builds toward future goals, betraying a forward-thinking vision? Some revisit cherished routines, underscoring their love for stability and time-tested joys. And don't overlook the silences or omissions, they're just as telling. If they hesitate, scrambling for an answer or admitting nothing comes to mind, it might whisper of tougher times they're navigating, a habit of overlooking positives, or a tunnel vision focus on challenges that eclipses the brighter spots. What about the when and where of it all? Was their peak at the office amid deadlines, cozy at home in solitude, shared with a crowd, or sparked by an unplanned twist? These nuances sketch a vivid map of their fulfillment zones, showing you the contexts where they truly thrive. In essence, this unassuming query flings open a portal to their inner world, laying the groundwork for richer empathy. Once you've grasped what fuels their fire, you can anticipate their responses, decode their drives, and cultivate the type of rapport they crave, whether collaborative, supportive, or adventurous. But while knowing their energizers is transformative, our next question peels back another vital layer: how they navigate evolution and self-discovery. Question number 2. What's something you used to believe that you don't believe anymore? This probe illuminates their knack for personal growth and introspection, building on the first question's snapshot of their current sparks. This one exposes their humility in thinking, their grace in adapting to shifts, and their willingness to transform as life unfolds. It also uncovers just how open they are to rethinking old certainties, embracing new perspectives with an adaptable spirit. Building on that revelation of openness to new ideas and the humility to pivot from old ones. This question truly shines by highlighting a person's willingness to admit they were wrong, a hallmark of deep emotional maturity and profound character. Picture this. The real magic of this query stems from what it quietly demands: an honest dive into self-reflection, a nod to human error, and a genuine embrace of evolution. To answer it meaningfully, someone has to flex those mental muscles that distinguish the stubbornly fixed from the flexibly wise. The echo chambers of closed thinking from the wide-open fields of curiosity and learning. I first grasped its potency back in a high-stakes job interview for a leadership role. The applicant came armed with a stellar resume and smooth responses to the usual queries. But I craved insight into his approach to error. So, I posed it. What's something you used to believe that you don't believe anymore? He took a thoughtful beat, then shared, I used to think that grinding through longer hours equaled superior productivity. I'd linger at the desk till 9 p.m. nightly, secretly looking down on coworkers who clocked out at 5. But experience taught me that sharp, concentrated effort in shorter bursts yields far better outcomes, and those lazy colleagues often outshone me in results. That response unpacked layers of his inner workings like unfolding a well-worn map. For starters, he owned up to a core flaw in his professional worldview without flinching. Next, it showed he could absorb lessons from real-life observations instead of digging in his heels to defend outdated views. Then there was the humility in confessing his misjudgment of others, a quiet admission that spoke volumes. Above all, it proved he could translate fresh insights into actual behavioral shifts, turning theory into practice. He landed the position, And across 3 years of collaboration, his knack for adaptation and growth elevated him to one of our standout leaders, his reply to that lone question forecasting his triumphs more accurately than any skills test ever could. Isn't it remarkable how such a straightforward ask can instantly sort people into telling categories? Some leap in with zest, rattling off several shifted beliefs and framing mental growth as an exhilarating, everyday adventure. Others falter or draw blanks, perhaps from skimping on introspection or dreading the vulnerability of conceding past mistakes. I recall floating this to a prospective business ally once. After an awkward stretch of silence, he replied, "Honestly, nothing springs to mind. I've always nailed things pretty spot on from the get-go." Red flag waved high. This signaled either a blind spot in self-awareness or an ego too armored to acknowledge flaws. Whichever it was, it hinted at friction ahead in scenarios demanding flexibility or give and take. On the flip side, the truly standout individuals often brighten at the prompt, seeing it as an invitation to narrate their transformation tales. One memorable response came from a contact who said, "I used to see seeking help as a weakness, convinced I had to solo every challenge to validate my chops. Now, I know it's the mark of true smarts. It prioritizes outcomes over pride." As the Stoic thinker Seneca wisely noted, every fresh start springs from the close of something prior. This question peels back how at ease someone is with those closures, the farewell to outdated convictions, entrenched mindsets, or former selves. Those who navigate such shifts with poise, they emerge as the resilient types, quick to adjust and a joy to collaborate with amid life's inevitable twists and turns. Echoing that poise in embracing closures and personal reinventions, this question offers even richer clues by spotlighting the nuances in how people recount their shifts, painting a fuller portrait of their journey. Observe closely. Do they wear a cloak of shame or a badge of pride as they narrate their evolving beliefs? Those with true maturity and health view mind changing not as a stumble, but as a triumphant step forward, like shedding an old skin to reveal something stronger beneath. They'll weave in phrases such as, "I learned," or "I discovered," steering clear of self-flagellating admissions like, "I was wrong," or "I made a mistake." Such subtle word choices act as windows into their bond with self-improvement, showing whether they embrace it as a lifelong ally or approach it warily, like a necessary but uneasy companion. Beyond the tone, the substance of what they reveal carries immense weight, like the core of a story that defines the narrative arc. Consider one person who once held that "nice guys finish last," only to uncover that true kindness wields its own quiet power, a transformation that whispers of lessons in empathy and resilience. Contrast that with another who dismissed money's role entirely, later realizing that financial stability unlocks doors to genuine liberty. Here, the shift highlights a pivot toward pragmatism and security. Each evolution signals growth, yet they unfurl distinct tapestries of values and lived chapters, from the scars of interpersonal trials to the triumphs of practical wisdom. Some dive into tales of relational awakenings, unveiling hard-won insights on forging bonds that endure. Others spotlight shifts in career or scholarly realms, betraying a soul fueled by ambition and mastery. And then there are those who ponder deeper philosophical or spiritual turnarounds, marking them as contemplative seekers who wrestle with life's big questions: purpose, existence, the very fabric of meaning. Isn't it intriguing how a single response can echo the rhythms of their inner life? Moreover, this probe illuminates their approach to learning. Much like tracing the path of a river to its source, do they reshape convictions through the forge of first-hand trials, the steady grind of books and research, the mirror of others' input, or the thunderclap of pivotal events? Grasping this flow equips you to engage them more artfully down the line, tailoring your words to resonate with their unique way of absorbing the world. Yet, for those who draw a complete blank on this question, they typically slot into one of two camps: the unexamined souls who've skimmed the surface of introspection, or the steadfast guardians of ego too armored to concede any evolution. Either path poses hurdles in cultivating profound ties, since shared voyages through life's upheavals demand that flexibility and openness to thrive side by side. While decoding their mindset on growth offers solid ground, our next question slices even deeper. evading every guarded wall to expose the bedrock of their principles. If a belief overhaul has ever reshaped your own foundation, drop evolved in the comments as a nod to the truth that true insight blooms from owning our missteps. Onward we go. Question number 3. If you could change one thing about how people treat each other, what would it be? This gem slips past all barriers, unearthing their most profound convictions with effortless grace. Masquerading as a light, what if? It's really a masterful dig into their ethical core, the standout powerhouse among the 5. Zeroing in on what pulses at the heart of their views on human interplay. In their reply, they're unwittingly laying bare their blueprint for relationships, the wounds that linger from past interactions, and the lofty visions they hold for harmony, all bundled into one candid reveal. What makes it brilliant? Its deceptive safety net. Folks aren't bearing their own scars or secrets outright, they're musing on society at large. Like pondering clouds from a distance, this buffer of detachment invites them to voice bedrock truths without the sting of spotlight. Yet it inevitably mirrors back their own brushes with betrayal, the pillars they stand on, and their convictions about what binds or breaks connections between souls. I unearthed its strength years back while vetting a prospective business ally. We'd circled through multiple strategy sessions, yet a nagging doubt lingered on our value sync. Over a casual dinner, I floated the query his way. He mulled it over, fork paused midair, then responded, "I wish people would stop making promises they don't intend to keep." Building on that candid wish to end broken promises, his words hung in the air like a quiet manifesto, unveiling the pillars of his integrity in a single breath. He went on to explain, "There's something truly corrosive about those casual commitments that folks shatter without a second thought. Like fragile glass underfoot." That revelation hit me like a spotlight, illuminating everything I needed to grasp about his essence. For him, reliability and integrity weren't mere buzzwords tossed around in boardrooms. They were the unshakable foundations he'd clearly been scarred by when others fell short. His evident frustration with flimsy vows signaled that he held commitments as sacred, demanding the same gravity from those around him. It also peeled back how trust formed the bedrock of his approach to any bond, whether professional or personal. Fast forward 2 years, and that glimpse proved priceless. He evolved into the steadiest collaborator I'd ever encountered, the type who'd ring you up over a mere 5-minute delay to a call, and who unfailingly matched his words with actions, turning promises into ironclad realities. That lone response had sketched out his character map, guiding me through our partnership with uncanny accuracy. What elevates this question to artistry is its knack for unmasking varied personalities and their deepest preoccupations. Like flipping through a gallery of human souls, some zero in on kindness, yearning, "I wish people would show more compassion in their daily dealings." Others champion honesty, declaring, "I wish folks would just speak their truth instead of hiding behind passive-aggressive jabs." Then there are those who spotlight respect, musing, "I wish people would truly listen to comprehend, not just bide time until they can chime in." Each reply doesn't merely echo what they hold dear, it whispers of the voids they've endured, the sting of what's been missing. The one pleading for compassion? They've likely weathered cruelty's bite firsthand. The seeker of honesty? Probably no stranger to deception's shadows or manipulation's twists. And the advocate for attentive ears? They've surely known the isolation of being overlooked, their voice fading into echoes. I remember posing this to a colleague once, and her instant reply was, "I wish people would quit judging others over things beyond their control." It painted her as someone who'd tasted unjust scrutiny, who prized acceptance and fairness above all, and who carried a well of empathy for those on the fringes or in hardship. Sure enough, when we tackled a group endeavor later, her traits shone in smoothing tensions and fostering spaces where everyone felt included, turning potential clashes into collaborative harmony. Another time, a contact shared, "I wish people would honor their promises to themselves, not solely to others." This unveiled a mind attuned to self-respect as the cornerstone of all connections. Someone who esteemed inner discipline and had likely grappled with excuse-makers or those adrift in inconsistency. As the Stoic Epictetus once advised, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. This query cuts to that self-knowledge, exposing what they cherish most in the dance of human exchanges, their blueprint for bonds. The benchmarks they set for self and society, and the actions that either forge or fracture trust. Tune into both the positives they crave more of and the negatives they'd banish from behavior's landscape. A response like, "I wish people were more grateful," hints at a soul that treasures acknowledgement, perhaps weary from feeling undervalued. Contrast that with, "I wish folks would cease trying to fix everyone," which spotlights a value on pure acceptance, likely born from dodging unsolicited meddling. The undercurrent of emotion in their delivery tells its own tale. 2. Some infuse it with raw frustration or a twinge of sorrow, betraying wounds that run deep from the very flaws they decry. Others bubble with hope and a sunny belief in our capacity to rise, radiating faith in humanity's better angels. And a few offer it with a sigh of resignation, as if they've made peace with unchanging ways but still harbor a quiet longing for shift. Beyond that, this question sketches the breadth of their worldview. Building on that glimpse into their worldview's breadth, whether it's pinpointed on personal quirks or stretched across societal structures, this question invites you to probe even deeper. Decoding not just the surface wish but the hidden echoes beneath. Do they hone in on everyday personal traits, like fostering more kindness or upholding raw honesty in interactions? Or do they sweep wider, tackling entrenched systemic woes such as inequality or the pursuit of true justice? Their choice lays bare how they frame the fractures in human connections, as mere individual slips or as symptoms of larger cultural rifts, like cracks in a vast foundation that affect us all. But don't stop at the words they voice. Attune your ear to the overt response and the subtle undercurrents weaving through it. Those unspoken confessions that color everything. For instance, when someone sighs and says, "I wish people would be more patient," isn't it often a veiled plea echoing their own experiences? "I wish people would be more patient with me." And if they declare, "I wish people would be more direct," they're typically mirroring back their preferred way of navigating conversations, spotlighting a style that favors clarity over evasion, a preference born from their own communicative dance. In a single, sweeping reply, this query unveils the essence of their approach to relationships, their guiding compass for how bonds should form and flourish. Yet, grasping those core values is merely the gateway. Our next probe ventures into uncharted territory, exposing how they navigate the storms of stress and the unforeseen twists life hurls their way. Question number 4. What's a decision you made that surprised even yourself? This inquiry peels back layers to reveal their innate potential for expansion in those moments of self-surprise that redefine who they are. It shines a light on their readiness to venture beyond familiar shores, their tango with uncertainty and risk, and their ability to shatter ingrained habits when the moment demands it, all vital signs of resilience and inner bravery that speak volumes about their spirit. I first unlocked its strength in a routine team huddle with folks I'd assumed I had pegged down pat. Tossing it out casually, I watched as Sarah, our soft-spoken colleague who always came across as cautious and allergic to gambles, flipped the script on us all. She shared, "I ditched my stable corporate gig to launch a food truck." It floored everyone, myself included. I'd never slung pots in a pro kitchen, but this inner urge to build something tangible with my bare hands just wouldn't quiet down. That story reshaped my entire view of her, like discovering a hidden flame in a lantern I'd thought dim. The understated team player I'd pegged harbored this fierce entrepreneurial spark, a bold streak ready to leap into the unknown when passion ignited. It uncovered depths of valor, ingenuity, and self-trust that her everyday routines had kept veiled, like treasures tucked away until the right prompt unearthed them. Later, when an out-of-the-box initiative cropped up needing a trailblazer, Sarah was my immediate pick, and she delivered, channeling that latent fire into fresh successes. What makes this question a standout is its power to draw a clear line between the deeply introspective souls and those drifting through life on autopilot, unaware of their own currents. Those who fire back with ease have clearly been attuned to their inner shifts, embracing transformation as a natural rhythm rather than a threat. On the flip side, the ones who fumble or blank out often cling to stiff self-images, potentially balking at any nudge toward evolution. Take the time I put it to someone who replied, "I've never pulled off anything that caught me off guard. I'm all about steady, predictable picks." Sure, reliability has its charms, like a reliable anchor in choppy seas. But it hinted at a rigidity that might shy from bending, seldom venturing past well-worn paths. Yet, the vibrant go-getters? They often ignite at the mere ask, their eyes gleaming with recollection. One acquaintance beamed as he recounted, as a born introvert who dreads the spotlight, I stunned myself by stepping up for a keynote at a huge summit. Not only did I make it through unscathed, but I found real thrill in bridging with the crowd. That tale exposed a keen insight into his baseline instincts, a boldness to confront phobias head-on, an expansive room for development, and a knack for unearthing delight amid trials, traits that forecast triumphs in arenas demanding quick pivots and guts. As Marcus Aurelius pondered, adapt yourself to the life you've been given, but love the people with whom you share it. This very question maps out their dance with adaptation and unfolding, laying bare their stance on flux and self-betterment. Keep an eye on the flavor they infuse into their tale, pride, remorse, or a spark of wonder. The well-adjusted types usually recount these jolts with a mix of triumph and awe, cherishing them as proof of untapped potential blooming. Those laced with regret might wrestle with embracing hazards, while the curiously minded often signal a fertile ground for ongoing learning. And let's not overlook the substance itself, the meat of what they chose to highlight. Building on that essence of the surprising decision itself, the very core of what caught them off guard, this question invites you to explore the flavors of those choices, each one a window into hidden facets of their character. Imagine someone recounting how they astonished themselves by challenging a figure of authority, their story unfolding like a quiet rebellion that uncovers a reservoir of bravery they'd kept under wraps. Or picture another who dove headfirst into a long-dormant artistic pursuit, revealing layers of depth that shimmer beyond their everyday facade, like sunlight piercing through clouds to illuminate forgotten landscapes. Then there's the one who extended a hand to a complete stranger in need, exposing a wellspring of compassion that flows beneath their surface demeanor, warm and unexpected. Pay close attention. Was this jolt sparked by outside forces pressing in? Or did it bubble up from an inner whisper? Those external triggers sketch how they bend and respond to life's curveballs, while the self-spurred ones highlight a profound ability to ignite their own transformations, like striking a match in the dark to light a new path. Ultimately, this probe doesn't just map their past, it hints at the evolving self they're stepping into, the version emerging from the chrysalis of old habits. Grasping this flair for self-discovery sets the stage perfectly for our capstone query, one that dives straight into the heart of what drives them, unveiling their most genuine yearnings without the shadows of doubt. Question number 5. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? This timeless prompt sweeps aside the shackles of fear, laying bare their purest aspirations like a veil lifted in the dawn light. By erasing the specter of setback, it coaxes out what they'd truly chase in life, exposing the dreams that simmer beneath, the ambitions that fuel their fire, and the pursuits they sense would deliver deep satisfaction, unhindered by real-world hurdles, nagging worries, or pragmatic chains. Isn't it fascinating how such a simple twist can unlock the soul's hidden map? At its core, the question's magic springs from sidestepping the brain's habit of trimming aspirations to fit sensible boxes, letting raw wants surface instead of the cautious fallbacks we often settle for. It gifts you a clear view of their spirit's compass, free from the fog of apprehension or societal shoulds, pointing true north to what calls them most. I stumbled upon its profound impact in a heartfelt chat with a close friend mired in career doldrums. For months, she'd vented about the emptiness gnawing at her job, yet she couldn't pinpoint an alternative that sparked her. But when I posed this, her whole presence shifted, like a switch flipping to illuminate a room long dimmed. I'd launch a counseling haven just for teens, she declared, her words tumbling out with unbridled certainty. A judgment-free zone where they could unpack the heavy stuff, depression, family chaos, identity battles. I'd make mental health approachable, stripping away the shame that keeps so many silent. Her tone brimmed with a vitality I'd never witnessed, unveiling a drive rooted in empathy over accolades, a passion for mending hearts rather than chasing gains, and a vocation centered on guiding the vulnerable through life's roughest patches. Half a year on, She dove into counseling studies. Her path realigned. Sometimes, all it takes is that nudge to voice the unspoken longings we've buried. What elevates this question is its swift unmasking of fundamental drives. Like a spotlight cutting through pretense, the ambition-fueled might envision erecting a corporate kingdom or upending a field with innovation. Artistic hearts could dream of penning epics, crafting cinematic worlds, or birthing art that stirs souls to their core. Those wired for altruism often paint pictures of uplifting communities, tackling inequities, or weaving fairness into the world's fabric. Yet, it's more than the vision they sketch. Watch the speed of their reply and the spark in their aura. A rapid, vibrant outpour signals desires they've nurtured in secret, ripe but restrained, just awaiting the green light. A slower, tentative response? It might whisper of a rift from their inner fire, or lessons learned to stifle those authentic cravings under layers of expectation. I recall asking this of an acquaintance whose face ignited instantly. I'd roam every corner of the globe, capturing vanishing traditions through lenses and tales. He enthused. That painted him as a seeker propelled by wanderlust, a guardian of cultural echoes, and a weaver of narratives, traits that pulsed with exploration, preservation, and imaginative flair. Building on those vibrant qualities of exploration and cultural guardianship that surfaced in his dream scenario, traits that proved vital in our cross-border collaborations, this question peels back even more layers, exposing how hidden passions can reshape our perceptions. Those weren't the attributes you'd spot in his buttoned-up corporate persona. But they turned out to be game changers when we tackled global ventures demanding a delicate touch with diverse traditions. Like navigating a mosaic of customs with newfound grace. Another acquaintance opened up with, I'd establish a foundation offering free schooling to kids in overlooked neighborhoods. Her words painting a vision steeped in fairness, learning, and equity that seeped into every choice she made, even in our high-stakes boardroom settings, where her focus on upliftment steered us toward more inclusive strategies. As Seneca insightfully observed, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. This probe uncovers those profound yearnings that transcend mere possessions or status. Like a compass pointing beyond the material horizon. For some, it's the hunger to leave a lasting mark on the world. For others, it's the spark of invention and artistry. Then there are those pulled toward weaving deeper bonds or chasing thrilling escapades, each craving a unique hue in the spectrum of human desire. Tune in closely to the grandeur of their visions. Do they envision reshaping the planet on a sweeping scale? Or honing in on uplifting their immediate surroundings? Like planting seeds in a local garden versus terraforming vast landscapes? Are their sights set on self-realization, or on pouring energy into others' well-being? These nuances sketch the contours of their core outlook, illuminating the primal forces that stir them from within, those invisible threads pulling at their decisions. Observe, too, if their fantasy syncs with their everyday steps, a mismatch can speak volumes. Take someone dreaming of animal advocacy yet never setting foot in a rescue center. They might be adrift from their own compass, floating in a sea of unacted ideals. Or consider the creative spirit envisioning bold expressions but chained to a rote, sensible job. It hints at buried facets yearning for air, suppressed under layers of practicality. Isn't it poignant how such disconnects whisper of inner conflicts we all wrestle with? Perhaps the most telling revelations lurk in the absences, the silences that echo louder than words. If their fail-proof world skips over love, kin, or heartfelt ties altogether, it could signal a fierce self-reliance, or perhaps a quiet battle with closeness. Like a fortress built high to ward off vulnerability. Should personal triumphs go unmentioned, they likely orbit around others' needs first, their fulfillment intertwined with collective harmony. At its heart, this question charts the trajectory of their essence, mapping what would quench their deepest thirst for purpose and joy. Like a star guiding a wanderer home. Once you've glimpsed these unguarded longings, you've unlocked the key to truly engaging them, offering the right encouragement, aligning on shared paths, and foreseeing what ignites their drive in any twist of fate. But let's circle back. Peering into thoughts isn't a ploy for leverage. It's the art of grasping someone profoundly to forge ties that endure and enrich. When you weave together insights from their weekly sparks, their paths of evolution, their bedrock principles, their moments of bold surprise, and their wildest aspirations. You're transcending mere talk. You're crafting authentic bridges between souls. In any arena, the real trailblazers aren't always the sharpest minds or the gifted prodigies. They're the masters of humanity who decode its nuances to cultivate trust, spark loyalty, and nurture real teamwork, turning groups into unstoppable forces. If these revelations have sharpened your lens on the dance of connections, give this video a thumbs up to spread the wisdom to fellow seekers. Hit subscribe on Rise of the Stoic for a steady stream of wisdom on decoding people and nurturing bonds that last. Drop a comment. Which of these questions are you itching to test out first? I'm eager to hear what strikes a chord with you and the gems you unearth when you put it into play. Catch you in the upcoming episode.